Welcome back to an extraordinary journey into the overlooked mysteries of the Bible. Today we're uncovering a hidden story that has been buried beneath the fame of Moses, the story of his sons, Gershom and Eliezer. Moses, the legendary leader who led the Israelites out of Egypt and performed countless miracles, is a name everyone recognizes. But how often do we hear about the sons he left behind? Why do Gershom and Eliezer, two figures who should have inherited the same legacy, fade into the background? What happened to them? And why aren't they celebrated like Aaron's descendants? In this episode, we're going to reveal the surprising reasons why Moses' sons never rose to prominence. Did they simply vanish, or is there a deeper meaning to their story? We'll dive into the Bible's clues, uncover the significance of their names, and explore why their journey, though hidden, offers profound lessons about God's timing, faithfulness, and the quiet power of serving from the shadows. If you've ever felt unseen, unnoticed, or like your role doesn't matter, this story is for you. Gershom and Eliezer may have lived in the background, but their legacy holds powerful lessons that still impact us today. Stick with us as we unpack this rarely told tale, offering you insights that will forever change how you view your unique place in God's plan. Let's begin with the origins of Gershom and Eliezer, two children born during one of the most turbulent periods of Moses' life. After fleeing Egypt for killing an Egyptian taskmaster, Moses sought refuge in Midian, where he married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a priest of Midian. It was during this period of exile that Moses and Zipporah had two sons, Gershom and Eliezer. The first mention of Gershom is found in Exodus 2:22, where Moses named his son after his feelings of displacement. "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land," Moses said, a reflection of the deep alienation and exile he was experiencing. The name Gershom, derived from the Hebrew root ger, meaning sojourner or foreigner, perfectly encapsulated Moses' journey from the palaces of Egypt to the wilderness of Midian, a man torn between two worlds. Next, we meet Moses' second son, Eliezer, whose name is first introduced in Exodus 18:3-4. Eliezer's name means "God is my help," a name that signifies the divine protection Moses experienced when he fled Egypt. "My father's God was my helper," Moses said, recalling how God had saved him from the sword of Pharaoh. This name serves as a powerful testament to God's faithfulness and deliverance, not just in Moses' personal life, but in the grand story of his people's redemption. These names, though brief in the narrative, are imbued with deep meaning, reminding us of the faithfulness of God and the importance of names in the biblical tradition. Gershom and Eliezer's names are like echoes from the past, whispering truths about survival, hope, and the quiet role they played alongside their father. But here's where the mystery deepens. While Aaron's sons went on to become priests and leaders in the community, Gershom and Eliezer seemingly faded into the background. Why? In Exodus 4:20, Moses took his wife and sons back to Egypt with him, signaling that they were part of the beginning of this monumental journey. And yet they never stepped into the roles of leadership that one might expect from the children of such a great man. What was it about their story that led them to remain in the shadows? One of the pivotal and often overlooked moments in their lives occurs in Exodus 4:24-26, where God was about to kill Moses because of his failure to circumcise his son. In this dramatic and intense moment, Zipporah, Moses' wife, took action by circumcising their son and thus saved Moses' life. The identity of the son involved is often believed to be Gershom, the eldest. This incident not only reestablished Moses' family's alignment with God's covenant, but also underscored the importance of obedience to God's laws, even for those chosen to lead. It's a powerful reminder that no one, not even Moses, was above the covenant. This moment emphasizes the significance of circumcision as a mark of being set apart for God, a physical symbol of his people's relationship with him. Despite their proximity to some of the most significant events in biblical history, Gershom and Eliezer's involvement remained largely unrecorded. They were there, beside Moses, yet they weren't in the spotlight. This stands in stark contrast to Aaron's sons Nadab, Abihu, Eliezer, and Ithamar, who were appointed by God to serve as priests, a role that carried immense responsibility and visibility. In Exodus 28:1-3, Aaron's lineage was chosen to lead the spiritual life of Israel, while Moses' sons remained in the background, a deliberate distinction to prevent any confusion about leadership. So why did Gershom and Eliezer fade from prominence? One reason might be the focus on Aaron's family and their priestly roles. By emphasizing Aaron's descendants, God ensured that the spiritual leadership of Israel was clear and established. The priestly role required not only great visibility but also absolute devotion, and this may have been one reason why Moses' sons were not chosen for leadership. However, just because they were not in the spotlight does not mean their story is insignificant. Their legacy offers us a profound reminder that God's plan is vast and multifaceted, and sometimes the most important roles are those that go unseen. Gershom and Eliezer remind us that serving faithfully in the background can be just as crucial as leading from the front. In conclusion, the hidden legacy of Moses' sons, Gershom and Eliezer, carries with it powerful lessons about God's purpose, His faithfulness, and the importance of serving quietly, even when not recognized. Their lives are a testament to the idea that every role in God's kingdom, whether visible or hidden, holds significance. Gershom and Eliezer may have faded from the biblical narrative, but their story continues to impact us today, offering timeless lessons about humility, faithfulness, and trusting God's plan even when we're in the background. Number 2. The emphasis on Moses' unique role. Moses' role as prophet, leader, and mediator between God and the Israelites was unique and unparalleled. His calling did not automatically extend to his sons. Deuteronomy chapter 34 verses 10 to 12 states, "Since then no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, who did all those signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all his officials, and to his whole land. For no one has ever shown the mighty power or performed the awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel." This passage underscores that Moses' leadership was distinctive and his sons were not positioned to inherit his prophetic or leadership roles. Number 3. Possibility of returning to Midian. There is a possibility, as suggested by some traditions, that Gershom and Eliezer may have returned to Midian with Zipporah during the Exodus journey. Exodus 18, verses 1 to 6, tells of Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, bringing Zipporah and the sons back to meet Moses at Mount Sinai. This passage suggests that Moses' family may not have been consistently present during the dramatic events in Egypt and the wilderness. This reunion indicates a possible separation, which may explain their limited presence during significant moments of Israel's journey. Although Gershom and Eliezer's roles are not prominently featured in the Exodus story, 1 Chronicles, chapter 23, verses 14 to 17, provides a brief genealogy that shows their descendants continue to serve in Israel. The sons of Moses, the man of God, were counted as part of the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses, Gershom and Eliezer. The descendants of Gershom, Shubal, were the first. The descendants of Eliezer, Rehobiah, were the first. Eliezer had no other sons, but the sons of Rehobiah were very numerous. The descendants of Gershom and Eliezer were counted among the Levites, the tribe chosen by God to assist in the care and service of the tabernacle and later the temple. While Aaron's descendants were designated as priests, the broader Levitical line was tasked with various supportive roles, including the maintenance of the sanctuary, guarding the temple, and assisting the priests. This distinction is outlined in Numbers chapter 3, verses 5 to 9. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest to assist him. They are to perform duties for him and for the whole community at the tent of meeting by doing the work of the tabernacle. They are to take care of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, fulfilling the obligations of the Israelites by doing the work of the tabernacle. They are to take care of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, fulfilling the obligations of the Israelites by doing the work of the tabernacle." Although Gershom and Eliezer's descendants were part of this broader Levitical service, the specific details of their roles are not elaborated upon, indicating their functions were not as celebrated or high profile as the priestly duties. The line of Gershom, Shubal's role, and Gershom's lineage are specifically mentioned in 1 Chronicles 23 verse 16, where Shubal, sometimes spelled Shabuel, is named as the first of Gershom's descendants. Shubal later appears in 1 Chronicles 24 verse 20, where he is noted among the leaders of the Levites as for the rest of the descendants of Levi. From the sons of Amram, Shubal. From the sons of Shubal, Jedah. Shubal's presence among the Levites indicates that he had a leadership role, though it was not equivalent to the priesthood of Aaron's descendants. This subtle yet significant acknowledgement reflects that Gershom's line continued to serve faithfully within the Levitical structure, contributing to the worship and organization of Israel. The line of Eliezer, Rehoboam's numerous descendants. Eliezer's line is noted as having many descendants, particularly through Rehoboam, as highlighted in 1 Chronicles 23 verse 17. The specific mention that the sons of Rehoboam were very numerous indicates that Eliezer's lineage grew substantially and had a notable presence among the Levites. The emphasis on their numbers suggests that they were a flourishing family within the tribe, even if they did not hold prominent titles. The importance of Rehoboam's descendants can also be seen in the way Chronicles emphasizes their proliferation. This contrasts with many other lines that diminished over time, reflecting a blessing of fruitfulness upon Eliezer's family, reminiscent of God's promise to increase and bless his people. Genesis chapter 22, verse 17, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Though they did not achieve high priestly status, the numerous descendants of Rehoboam continued to serve in supportive and possibly administrative roles within the Levitical duties, contributing to the stability and continuity of the community's worship practices. The comparison between the descendants of Aaron and those of Moses highlights a deliberate distinction made by God. Aaron's line was specifically chosen for priesthood, a position of spiritual leadership and visibility that came with great responsibility and privilege. In contrast, the descendants of Moses were integrated into the broader Levitical service without special recognition. This distinction is further underscored in 1 Chronicles chapter 24, where Aaron's sons are detailed with specific priestly courses, responsibilities, and honors, while the sons of Moses are only briefly mentioned. 1 Chronicles chapter 24 verses 1 to 2 states, these were the divisions of the descendants of Aaron. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eliezer, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father did, and they had no sons, so Eliezer and Ithamar served as the priests. This clear delineation sets the sons of Aaron as the central figures in priestly functions, reinforcing the idea that God's callings are distinct and not always aligned with human expectations of inheritance and prominence. While Gershom and Eliezer may not have been prominent figures during their time, their lives and the legacy of their descendants still hold significant value for us today. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that God's purpose and timing often operate in ways that transcend human recognition and expectations. Here are some key lessons we can learn from their lives. The lives of Gershom and Eliezer teach us that not everyone is called to be in the spotlight, and that's perfectly aligned with God's design. While Moses' sons did not achieve the fame or recognition that their father did, their existence was still an integral part of God's unfolding plan. Their story highlights that God's purpose for each of us is unique, and that our lives hold meaning even when we are not at the forefront. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 beautifully encapsulates this truth. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. This verse reminds us that God's timing is perfect, even when it does not align with our own desires or expectations. Gershom and Eliezer lives were significant in the time and roles God appointed for them, even if their contributions were not prominently displayed in the biblical narrative. Similarly, Romans chapter 8 verse 28 assures us that God works all things for good, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Just as God wove Gershom and Eliezer into the tapestry of Israel's history in a supporting role, He continues to weave our lives into His greater purpose, often in ways we may not fully understand. The lack of visible recognition does not diminish the value of our contributions when they are part of God's divine plan. Although Gershom and Eliezer were not famous, their descendants continued to serve God within the Levitical tribe. This legacy teaches us that the impact of our faithfulness often extends far beyond our immediate circumstances. We may not see the full effects of our obedience in our lifetime, but the seeds we plant can bear fruit for generations. Psalm 112, verses 1-2, highlights the enduring legacy of the righteous. Blessed are those who fear the Lord and find great delight in His commands. Their children will be mighty in the land, the generation of the upright will be blessed. This scripture emphasizes that those who fear and obey God leave a lasting legacy that blesses future generations. Gershom and Eliezer's descendants, though not in the spotlight, were part of the Levitical service, contributing to the spiritual fabric of Israel. Their story reminds us that our faithfulness can influence those who come after us, even if we never receive recognition. Hebrews chapter 6 verse 10 also speaks to God's acknowledgement of our service. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you have helped His people and continue to help them. This assurance underscores that God sees and values every act of service, whether it is seen by others or not. Gershom and Eliezer's descendants continued to fulfill their roles faithfully, and in doing so they contributed to the ongoing worship and spiritual life of the community. Moses' life exemplifies that God's calling matters more than human recognition. Despite his great achievements, Moses faced immense challenges, doubts, and moments of obscurity. Similarly, his sons did not rise to fame, but their lives remind us that true importance lies not in status but in our obedience to God. Philippians 2, verses 3-4, provides a powerful reminder about the value of humility and service. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. Gershom and Eliezer's story is a testament to this principle. Their lives were not marked by selfish ambition or a quest for prominence. Instead, they fulfilled their roles quietly and faithfully. This humility serves as an example for us to focus on serving God and others rather than seeking recognition. Additionally, 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 7 reveals God's perspective on what truly matters. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This verse highlights that God values our inner devotion and obedience far more than external achievements or positions. Gershom and Eliezer, though not celebrated, were part of God's chosen people and played their part in the grand narrative of Israel's history. Their story teaches us that God's evaluation of our lives is based on our faithfulness, not our fame. Many people today struggle with feeling unnoticed or unimportant, especially when they are not in visible positions. The story of Gershom and Eliezer encourages us to find purpose in the roles God has assigned us, knowing that every act of service, no matter how small, is significant in His eyes. Just as the sons of Moses served without widespread recognition, we too may be called to serve in ways that are not immediately seen or celebrated. Trusting in God's greater plan helps us find contentment and fulfillment, even when our contribution seems small. The example of Gershom and Eliezer challenges us to prioritize obedience to God's calling over the pursuit of personal ambition. In a world that often glorifies status and visibility, their lives remind us that true fulfillment comes from aligning ourselves with God's will. In conclusion, so where did the sons of Moses disappear to? And are they important? While their story may seem hidden in the pages of Scripture, it serves as a reminder that God's purposes are not always about being seen. Gershom and Eliezer's legacy is subtle, but it speaks of God's faithfulness and the importance of living in obedience to His call. Their absence in the biblical narrative is not a mark of insignificance, but rather a testament to God's unique plans for each of His people. Whether in the spotlight or in the background, every person has a role in God's greatest story. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's continue to uncover more hidden gems of the Bible together. God bless you and see you next time.